Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today I'm here, Elma. I am the CMO of CrawlQ AI, and we have the founder of CrawlQ, Harish. And today we are going to have a masterclass about building your own AI assistants. And these AI assistants can actually predict your your customers' next move. So market research is one of the core functions of CrawlQ, and I've been using CrawlQ since 2022. So to 2022. Yeah, since 2022. And I mean, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot, not only as a person, but not only as a marketer, but also as a person, because everything that we do in CrawlQ, it has a lot of things to do, not just with AI, but actually human psychology. And it's really blending in psychology, neurolinguistic programming, and the other NLP, which is natural language processing, plus AI, obviously. So here we are, and I'm looking forward to this because I want to create my own AI assistants as well inside CrawlQ. So Harish, can you please explain to us quickly what is the concept of CrawlQ and maybe a background of what is CrawlQ all about, and a little bit of the concept of AI assistance, and why AI assistance is the next big thing in Gen AI.
Right. Thank you, Alma, for the great introduction. And I think, as I have been recently reading a post, 2023 was the hype of ChatGPT. But when we moved into this year, this is all about creating more automations. It's all about creating more live industry use cases and business value into the implementation of AI. And AI agents, AI assistants is going to be the hype, or let's say putting them into real use cases this year. And you might have seen a lot of things in the market already coming out about how to use AI assistants, AI agents, and the autonomous agents interacting with each other. So I think we are in the very, very right direction with CrawlQ introducing various AI assistants and how these AI assistants are built on top of the existing CrawlQ's mechanism, and that's very, very fascinating and advanced as we are will try to show some of it in today's webinar. So, just for curiosity, do we see the audience, or do we start directly? How should we work?
Maybe we can start with, remember we have this diagram on how CrawlQ actually works, that like where we
Yes,
have the two-way RAG. So because there are some users that are discovering CrawlQ for the first time here, so I think we have to give them a quick background on how exactly does CrawlQ work, what type of outputs can we generate, what kind of research does it do. So like really the basic concepts, because we understanding the concept is very important before we move
right.
on to the more um, to the next step, like building your own assistants, because to create your own assistants, you need to understand first how CrawlQ works.
Right. Thank you for the direction, because we know that we have several users. Some are familiar with
Mm-hmm.
CrawlQ's concept, some are not. So I'm assuming here from a scale of 0 to 10, let's say some users are at 3, some users might have heard it for first time, some users are at 7. But whatever I'm going to present here or show you through these couple of slides will really help us to understand and have a grounding effect what is CrawlQ and how we can use it. So let's do that. As my first title itself suggests, that with CrawlQ you can really master your market, and you can really create your strategic content and advanced business insights. And we will deep dive into it how this statement is relevant. But let's try to focus first on what is CrawlQ, why you should be using it, how does it work, what's new that we are bringing in, and what our users are saying. And obviously we will not be going through all the details, but we'll come back when we need this. Are we good with this agenda
Yes.
for first uh, first 15 minute maybe, and then we switch to the more practical aspects of creating assistants and using them. Okay, so let's try to capture it in some sentence. That CrawlQ is obviously a artificial intelligence tool that harness the deeper capabilities of different types of LLM, large language models, and it creates in the background a working persona engine. So using the big data, harnessing the different capabilities of different LLMs, it creates an active dynamic persona engine, which is predictive in the nature and is just based on some simple seed inputs. And that is the starting point of using some minimum seed input and then bringing the predictive aspects of persona engine. Once this persona engine is ready, then it is dynamically delivered all these results, research on a conversational AI platform. So this is in a high level what is CrawlQ is all about, backed by different LLMs, different data sources, and then a dynamic persona engine which provides results to the user and interacts with the user on a conversational AI platform. Now, already the next slide is on the screen, which shows if you have no persona at all strategy, and if you have persona strategy, then these are the big impacts that you see, and these are the industry impacts benchmark for us, that at CrawlQ we are trying to beat these benchmarks. And feel free to request us specific case studies for our customers, for ourselves, and we are very happy to share all of these. But these are the benchmarks. For example, without persona, industry says with persona, your landing page conversion rate should be two and a half times higher. Similarly, your video views, blog conversion rates, e-commerce conversion rate, your search engine or Google Ads, or any kind of social media engagement rate. You see those metrics that are industry benchmarks, and we are above average or above on these benchmarks. So this is our benchmark already. These are industry standards, and we are trying to get on top of these benchmarks. So this is our minimum level playing field when we talk in terms of the impact of persona centric content research and content KPIs.
Oh, by the way, regarding the KPIs, I just want to add one thing. If you join our Facebook group, Build Your Audience Persona with CrawlQ, I actually post case studies. I mean, these are real world case studies. It's not just, oh, this is what might happen with CrawlQ. No, I'm putting in there, this is what happened when I implemented strategies from CrawlQ. And one of them is, Harish didn't update it on this slide because this is our in-house project where we managed to increase the uh, newsletter CTR up to 6 times within 2 weeks. So do check it out. Join our Facebook group, and you will find more and more and more use cases, case studies, not use cases, case studies like this. Okay, that's
Sure.
all.
And as I said, we are happy to provide them on
Yeah,
personal request as well, and we will be creating more um, s- like in a digestible format and sharing them more in
right.
upcoming days. So next, I want to touch upon this aspect where the research is based on minimum inputs, and why we need some minimum inputs to AI and let AI come up with creative idea is that we don't want to create inherent biases that are there when are we working directly with our colleagues, with ourselves. We have a lot of biases, and those biases, if we wanted to directly, for example, if it is not CrawlQ and we are working with let's say ChatGPT or many other alternative solutions, we want to give it a lot of details about our product, who we are targeting, and some information from our website. But here we want to start with a very specified input, we call it seed input, and these seed inputs are calibrated to a larger set of research that is triggered in the background. And those seed inputs, you start with saying what is your topic of interest. So for example, when you have a product, when you have a company, you have vision, and this vision is how much interest you can generate and how much revenue you can generate. So this is really about the interest. What is the main topic of interest that is relative to your product and the target market? What is your product name? So the second dimension is the product name, and you provide CrawlQ your best guess of who might be those people who are interested in the interest that you are generating and the product that you have in hand. Now, when I say product, you always can convert it into services as well. And we are going to add different type of educational material where we are going to also educate our users why it is important to productize your service idea. And this is a completely different topic, but keep in mind when I say product, I also mean services. And if it's a multiple product, then I also mean that the amalgamation of those product at a brand level or at a higher segment level. So you can also come, if you have multiple products, you can put them into category, and still this the seed raw input that are designed to input or initiate a campaign will be tailored to the specific mechanism that we have unique to CrawlQ. So your interest, the product service you have, and your best guess of who is likely the person that will get benefit from your product or the interest that you're generating in that market, right? So that's really important to understand that entire research phase of CrawlQ is calibrated to these minimum seed inputs. And once you have these inputs, CrawlQ creates an extensive research based on the customer journey. So your top level of the funnel, middle level of the funnel, bottom level of the funnel. And when I talk funnel, we go deeper with the not only demographics or touching the high level idea, but we really go deeper into semantics, psychographics. Within semantics, psychographics, we are touching elements like top fears, suspicions, desires, professional desires, personal desires of your target audience. And within the semantics, we are checking what are the different topics or clusters of topic that might be of interest to the audience. And when we step into the middle of the funnel, then we are checking what books they might be interested in, what podcast they are listening to, um, what are their suspicions in reference to your product. So when we start researching into the middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel, where that's the point where the heavy elements of the product or service get into it. So we our tool is aware that if we are creating a top level funnel research, then we don't need to talk about product. We need to generate educational awareness. We need to find out what are the barriers to the awareness. So for example, what are the different triggers to that awareness stage. So in these steps, CrawlQ really goes deeper, and it designed with different frameworks, heavily drawing from psychographics, heavily drawing from the different marketing and psychographics framework. So we'll discuss, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. But remember that there is a seed input which is tailored to this persona engine, and this is predictive in the nature. So it is very important that we set those seed input very thoroughly, or not like we should not put them random input. One piece of advice here: while you input those information like topic of interest, product name, try to be more specific, try to be more precise in your wordings, because it's a very general nature of AI that when you use very generic word like targeting women at the age of 40, still it is very generic. We need to be very specific. Professional women at the age of 40 suffering from sleep anxiety due to this and this. If you make some specific statement about your hypothesis of the audience, then this tool is designed to go deeper and deeper and test that hypothesis with some predictive analytics in the back end. But if you design your inputs in a very generic way, then I would say the distance between any generic tool and CrawlQ, at that point you will see a diminishing returns of your time and investment into it. So that's why I'm spending some good time here to make sure that you really understand this is predictive in the nature, but we have to be very specific. When I say specific, we need to be not seeding in generic keywords or topics there. Do you have something to add, Elma?
Okay. Actually, the for me, the key when it comes to using CrawlQ is really doing this part right, because when you need to have the right campaign. This is what we call creating a campaign in CrawlQ, and then you need to ask the right questions, which we will go about later, and where we can use the assistants as well. So the right campaign, the right questions, and this would work really well, and you'll be amazed on what can come up as an output. But there are some questions from Mabel
Sure.
regarding CrawlQ. So, what's the LLM used to form the persona-based campaign? And it's actually a series of questions. And is there any ML involved, machine learning involved? And where is the set of data taken from? Is it like a lookalike audience?
Right. So amazing questions. Thank you, Mabel, for asking this. Some of these I'll be covering later on, but let me give you a quick answer now, and we'll go into detail of these also in some of these next slides. So we use mostly three large language models: GPT-4, Claude, and we are also using Gemini. For now, we have fine-tuned model based on OpenAI's GPT-4 model, and we have taken a subset of model, and we also bake it up with Cloud A and Gemini when necessary. But this fine-tuned model is our backbone to create seed input, and this model is fine-tuned from more than 10,000 sets of persona that we have hypothetically created, drawing from different niches, markets, and with our last 5 years of data analysis or data preparation, we have a very highly curated, fine-tuned set of those personas. Based on those personas, we have created a fine-tuned model.
Okay. And a
Now,
follow
within
up.
this fine-tuned model, we also apply machine learning techniques. Yes,
Oh,
a
okay. Sorry,
follow-up
I thought you
question.
were. I thought you
Yeah.
were that, because there's a follow up question for seed
Okay.
inputs. Is it fixed by CrawlQ, or can we customize?
All these seed input you can customize. So this is your own seed input in the custom inputs. And what while I was talking is there is an element of a uh, combination of different models that come into place. There's a fine-tuned persona engine that is fine-tuned based on the real life human data that we have curated over the last 5 years, and this is getting even better and better because our set is increasing. And there we also have some elements of machine learning into it, some predictive analytics about from the seed input, taking the data from adding to this data from your website, from Google, and there is a way that you can enrich the data, you can enhance in the later stage more data. And don't think this persona starting point is a one-sided approach. It's a dynamic, and I will tell you why it is dynamic. Because once you set up the initial persona, think of like this, like 80-20 rule. Your 80% work is done, but once you start interacting with the conversational platform, you're asking more questions, then in these steps you can edit the output, you can like it, dislike it, tweak it. All these interactions, that human feedback loop that you have with our platform, are continuously adjusting the persona in the background. You can go back again and redo the persona, and it will take the latest information that you have provided or the way you have interacted. Let's say that my persona, most of my persona 6 months back when I created first campaign, was an starting point, And now what I have them is much refined because I'm continuously creating different types of research, and all these inputs every time I create something that goes inside the platform. And that will become clear when I show you the next slide. Once you have this set up, I think it will be clear from this slide when I discuss this in more detail. So at the back end, as I showed you, you provide some campaign name, company name, main topic of interest, your most likely hypothesis that who you are targeting, your product name, service name, obviously founder name. We use it for some specific purpose. If you're signing an email or something, then we have founder name. It's not necessary. You can also give team name, department name, or repeat the company name again. Your domain, that's your main website, business website. If you don't have, you can also add a hypothetical domain name. So many people come to me and ask question, I don't have product. I say you can use service instead of the product. So, and you are here productizing your service. So that's the answer to that question. Many people come to me say that I'm just starting my business, I don't have domain name, I don't have product yet. Then we are still testing our market, so come up with some hypothetical ideas about the product name, so that's what you can be your starting point. And some people say I'm specific to Netherlands market or UK market or Australian market, but I said the first starting point you can test at global level, and the global level is represented as US market with city maybe a New York or Chicago. But these are my some of the starting hints to people who struggle with if they don't have a specific product in mind to start with, or they are building their business right now. So you go with this initial seed inputs, then our platform comes into play. So then you have these different LLMs: GPT-4, GPT-4 Vision, Cloud A3, Gemini 1.5, DALE. These are the different LLMs, and you can inject different data sources. So your market research, we are already automating it. We are creating a person engine. Once market research is ready, you can create market insights. You can connect to Reddit, Quora, and Google as separate connections inside while you do the research. You can also upload your documents, and we are working on integrations of 500 different types of most popular business and marketing tools that you can use via BigQuery. You can also upload documents, images, and as I said, with BigQuery and some of these app integrations, we will be enlarging the data source. So we have different LLMs, different data source. Now you might ask, what is the use case of having different LLMs? But let me tell you, when you use ChatGPT, every time you open an like GPT-4 or GPT 3.5, there are different instances, there are different threads, there are different like a starting point, right? But here, when you switch between these different LLMs, we are still recording all the responses in a single thread. So multiple LLMs really help us to democratize the answers, right? We are using a single thread, and in this thread, then it helps us to eliminate different biases by cross-referencing to these different LLMs, because you can imagine that these different LLMs have different strengths and learning styles and different input data, right? And this really help us by referencing them and putting them into a single thread to avoid the limitations of a single model. It enhance accuracy, create robustness and depths of insights by just mixing with the different perspectives of different LLMs. We decrease the likelihood of systematic errors, biases, while we promote really the relevance, more relevant outcomes, right? And one of these idea that you can really get into an echo chamber effect if you are just focusing on one set of LLM. We also reduce this echo chamber effects, and then we get into more democratized output. So this is really good to have these multiple LLMs. But remember, as opposed to any other solution in the market, our solution provide you different LLMs in the one single thread in the conversational platform, and always referring to that single source of truth. So in any other platform, you switch LLMs, you switch the source of truth because it's not directly universally attached to the source of truth, or you need to recreate your source of truth by providing it additional inputs. But here, Our source of truth is the market research, automated market research, and all kind of data that you are injecting into it or connecting this. And this single source of truth is available to all LLMs at the same time. So context is same. It's a source of truth. Is a single source of truth, but the LLMs can be multiple, and then you can select as a user which LLM to use. But they goes in the same thread, so that means we cancel all type of biases or any type of things that comes with a specific LLM. Now, once we have this LLM, different data source, we create this highly fine-tuned conversational platform. This conversational platform, I call it Athena, and the beauty here is that this Athena is fine-tuned persona engine. So every time you are interacting with it, on the top of the layer, it understands who we are talking to, who is our persona, who is our target audience. It remembers the name Samantha, 40-year-old woman with two kids, suffering from sleep anxiety, looking for solution. So it's a specific element of the persona which is well defined, is always on the top of the layer when we communicate. So think of this, that Athena makes sure all the time when you are generating content that you're talking to that Samantha, the Samantha for which you're creating content. And this is the beauty of this tool, because no matter what time you come, you recreate what a question you ask, we will be always be talking to that specific persona. So and that really makes the big difference, regardless of what data point context we provide. It will make sure that we are creating the context in the dimension of that product, persona, and the topic of interest. So these three dimensions are always there, regardless of what context you're feeding. If you feed some kind of useless context, that will be automatically discarded. Why? Because we create filters, we create filter gates or gateways, so that always the context will be pulled in the right way. So let me give you some more ideas, because explaining this whole thing might be a long presentation. But here I want to touch another idea which is quite connected with I just mentioned. We use in this platform a two-way retrieval augmentation generation. Many of you might be aware with the semantic search, like how semantic search used to work before keyword search. We then from advent of new algorithms, we went to semantic search, and now we are talking about retrieval augmentation generation. But we are doing it two-way, and I will explain what is two-way retrieval augmentation generation. On the first step, when you ask question to our conversational platform, we already anticipate what will be your next move, what will be your next question. And based on this anticipation, we already filter the right context to feed in. So we are feed forwarding the context one or two step ahead before what you are asking from our platform. And that is two-way retrieval augmentation generation. Why it helps? This approach allows us to contextually aware while predicting the future requirement for the enhanced data-driven decision making and support to the user. Because then we are not wasting the context, we are filtering the context in a specific direction. If you change the direction, if you ask something, then still, of course, there will be some element that the engine will get disturbed, but it anticipates your next question. If you're asking product, then it anticipates that you might be asking about benefits. So if you're asking benefits, then it will anticipate you might be asking about the features. So this kind of copywriting frameworks, the kind of logical steps or kind of neurocognitive thinking is part of the framework where it anticipates the next move of user. And this is two-way retrieval augmentation. Obviously we should come up with some more better education about it, but this is really powerful back engine behind CrawlQ. It ensures that outputs are relevant by considering both past interaction but also the future data points that we can pull in while you are asking questions. It improves efficiency of our platform in response generation, because we are reducing the redundancy in querying the database because we pull in anticipation in advance the right data, right context that user will be asking next. So this way it's very powerful both technically but also functionally. Human guidance, I'll not go into detail, but at each point on our platform, you can edit, tweak, like, dislike. You can you can completely have full control on which LLM to use, which data source to inject. Even on our platform, you can also select if you want to have very precise context from different sources, or you want to let our engine hallucinate. And I must say this that most of the people consider hallucination as bad thing of artificial intelligence, but trust me, hallucination is why we created generative AI, because we have already this information, but based on this information, we wanted to create new creative information. Now, if you use just ChatGPT without this kind of context and engine behind solid engine working, then your hallucination will be random hallucination. But here, your hallucination will be creative hallucination, creative insights that you have not seen, but is still controlled. Controlled in the sense that this platform is controlling the context based on machine learning and predictive analytics. But also, as a human, you have a lot of control where these new creative aspects of insights will come from. Um, I must say that we have, over the period of last 5 years, inherited on a lot of psychological frameworks, neuro-linguistic programming ideas. We draw upon popular copywriters or frameworks like Donald Miller storytelling. So every aspect of marketing and different types of framework that you can think of in terms of, be it psychological biases or be in terms of some business frameworks like SEO, or if you wanted to consider channels, then we cover each of these: LinkedIn, YouTube channels, or cold email marketing. So we have set of business framework, we have set of cognitive psychology frameworks and marketing frameworks, and we combine all these together in terms of different detailed prompts. And these prompts, while you work with CrawlQ, they are also further enhancing. So it's real our once you start using it, and it's continuously in the feedback loop, you create more content which is directly connecting with that persona. You foster emotional connection with your audience. It drives better conversion rate, and it combines scientific insights with practical business approaches from different sources, as you see here. So you have LLMs, you have data sources, you have business frameworks, you have two-way retrieval augmentation system, and this continuous feedback loop that you can create here is making this platform quite distinctive and differentiated from any other solution that is available in the market. Now, once we have this, we can create output in the text, we can create output with the images, and even you can hear those responses, so sound based responses. And if we do it all together, and if you provide right inputs in the beginning, seed inputs, and if everything works together, the impact of these components systems working together is that you apply all the inputs, and the processing of these different LLMs, data sources, machine learning, and these neuro linguistic or cognitive ideas or frameworks. With all these together and human guidance, we produce not only high quality content but also precise targeted content, or also the insights. And when I say content can be front end consumer facing content, or content can be a back end content that is used in your funnels, in your back end optimizations, right? So there are so many content which does not see which consumers do not see. It can be creative briefs, it can be uh, your value proposition statement, it can be a product research. So you can now name it, and I can tell you that this is possible in this and that way. So if we do everything good, we see improved engagement rates, higher conversion rate. You have competitive edge by using CrawlQ, and you are looking for better content ROI. So without like taking some more time here, let me know, Elma, if we have some more questions that we can answer already. You're on mute, Elma, I think.
Yeah, sorry, I am on mute. So there are some questions like, hey, they're asking how CrawlQ can help with business idea validation. So that is a separate topic, and we cannot add it in here because we are time constrained. And the key topic today is AI assistants. We will schedule another one with very specific to business idea validation. Okay, so the next question. Let me see. There is this is not really a question, but more of a from Mabel. So the cross-referencing of different LLMs and control on how you want to gear the AI generated. How come I cannot see the rest?
Output, yes, yes.
Output, yeah.
So I think, so I can validate this remark. Yes, you can cross-reference different LLMs, and you, as a user, have a full control on which direction you wanted to go with that. Because all these responses, and you can also control the more precise nature of the response to more creative nature of the response, and which data source also to include with which LLM is also possible. So there are a lot of configurations which are possible, and you will find that when you start using the platform, you will prefer some set of configurations, and that those set of configuration will be retained or saved by the platform. So this was very good idea from users, like Elma was saying before, and we had some several users. We wanted to retain the latest configurations, which LLM I'm using, what temperature I'm using, which data source I'm using. I want to retain this, and means retain means the platform remembers or memorize that this is what you are using all the time. And when you wanted to change it, you can change, but then again it will show you what is the optimal set of parameters that you are using all the time. So I hope we validated that remark, and
Okay.
feel
Yeah.
free to ask us more questions as we move.
Okay.
Let's quickly check different use cases. So you can perform accelerated research. This morning I got one of my contact me that she is having an urgent meeting with a client, and this client, she want to quickly create a persona based research. It was just 1 hour before her call with the customer. So we together had like 15-minute quick campaign, and within next 10 minutes we generated a Google Doc with 15 pages, and she was really excited because she had no clue like where to start this conversation with the customer. So this is accelerated use case. I'm not talking about days, I'm not talking about even hours, I'm talking about minutes it takes to create accelerated research that can take a company maybe 3 months, 4 months, or in a year, depending on the complexity of the product or the complexity of the team behind which is working behind the product. So I'm talking about minutes. Within minutes, we can create extensive research, accelerated research. We can go deeper with that research, with discovering the insights. Once you have these different layers of research, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, barriers to their awareness or trigger to their desire stage, you can go with each of the topic and discover deeper. So you can go deeper into those insights. You can create white papers, you can create reports, you can create consumer facing content, you can augment your team with um, multiple workflows. For example, we are going to show later these assistant can work together with your team to really augment your team's capability and productivity. You can use this tool for generating different ideas, and business use case validation or business idea validation is also one of the aspect when I say idea generation or business idea validation. Now, coming back to today's topic.
Oh, before we go to this topic, there's one more question from Mabel. Like, what's the process of accelerated research compared to slow paced, normal paced, or traditional
Right.
research?
Yeah. Right. Using CrawlQ is a way to do the accelerated research. And if you don't have CrawlQ, you're doing surveys, questionnaires, interviews, focus group, manually collecting data from Amazon, manually collecting data from Reddit, manually collecting data from Quora, manually collecting all this information from different sources like copy pasting your website. Then even if you have everything done properly and you are in the chat gpt, you still need to pull all this information, put in the chat gpt, and then you still don't have what you want. So using CrawlQ is of course accelerated way to do this research. And I just mentioned a use case. It was just 3 hours before we this webinar, that a customer come to me and say, okay, I have urgent call and I need to show something. Can I use CrawlQ to create a document? And I showed her how we can within 10 minutes create this accelerated use case document. So this is the way to do the accelerated research. So don't worry, next time you have a call with your customer, you haven't prepared anything, RollQ will help you.
Yep, that's
This is my
very
word.
true.
This is my words. Right.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Okay, so now let's go to the AI
Yes.
assistants.
Yes. So everything that I have spoken so far or explained so far is the main role queue and this mechanism based on persona, different data sources, and this Athena, which create feedback loop. But on top of this, now we have built specific AI assistants which are in a specific domain. They are domain experts. They are not just assistant. They are subject matter experts. Be it a SEO blog writing or be creating a your target market analysis or product analysis. We'll come to those assistant later. But let's say why our AI assistants are groundbreaking, because they are built on the top of this conversational AI platform. And what I'm why I'm saying this is really groundbreaking, because we design the conversational flow of this assistant that they ask minimum question from you. Think of this, that you hire an expert person, he's a subject matter expert, and you onboard this subject matter expert in your team within minutes. You don't need to be an expert on that domain. You just need to create an assistant conversational flow, give it the subject or some frameworks that it should draw upon, but you have a person next to you sitting, and you don't need to be an expert on this. And now this subject matter expert will be working together with you with in a very interactive way like your colleague. So the idea here is that we do not ask from user a lot of information. This information is already available on the market research, on the different data sources, and our assistant is intelligent to pull this information and present to you this information and validate for the next step. So this is just like, hey, I'm Alex. Thank you, Harish, working with me. I have your product detail, which is this product. This is the pain point. This is we are targeting to, or we are talking about today. Let's create together something. So it's like a co-creation together with you, and it will pull all the information that is needed beforehand, asking you some minimum information or just confirmation of that information. So we have the continuity here, so you can pick up where you left with this assistant, because all these assistant have their individual threads. And thread, when I say thread, it can be a technical term, but in simple terms, this response, question answer response, your question answer, your question answer, this response pair is a thread. And each assistant have their own thread, but each of these thread also contribute to the main CrawlQ's Athena thread. That means this AI, background AI, when you interact with individual assistants, also getting smarter and smarter and smarter, because it's turning into like a feedback loop. So I invoke assistant, I talk to the assistant. Assistant has this unique um, thread, like unique context, pulling from different data sources. But in the meantime, our Athena is also getting more and more intelligent with different subject matter experts. Like you hire 5 subject matter expert, but their expertise will remain themselves, right? Most of the time you hire people, but their expertise remain with themselves. When they leave your team, you don't have that expertise available. But here we are hiring those assistants. They are working together with Athena. They are also doing the transfer knowledge with Athena. So your Athena, your main CrawlQ assistant agent, or this behind the scene main AI, is getting smarter and smarter. She's getting all this knowledge and is helping you in the way. It doesn't matter if this assistant will die or go or it will delete it, because all the information that assistant passed is also with us. So customization is possible. You can provide PDF, JSON files, CSVs, images, and I have a list here which is not visible, but maybe it's small. But CSV, XLS, XLSS, you name it, even you can put it your pptx PowerPoint presentation or a Python code file. You might have .py file, or you might have .txt file, or even Microsoft document or HTML. You can input all these kind of different data types to our assistant. It's highly customized in terms of which data you want to use. You have a full control. You directly influence each step of the task creation for accuracy. So you are in control when designing the assistant. You give it right input, right conversational logic. It can also do not only information retrieval, but it can also code on the little task. It can do a predictive machine learning model. It can handle complex data or operations. So not only information retrieval, but this assistant can also be handy while creating some predictions or machine learning type of small models. You have consistency. You ensure correct output before moving forward. So and everything is delivered in a conversational platform. So we are going to jump into this assistant soon, but if you're watching this webinar so far, and if you're still wondering, or if you have not grabbed one of the seat on our platform, we are offering you a 40% off. We have exclusive 50 seats for this month, and the coupon code is there, CrawlQ webinar 40. It will give you 40% direct off. If you are one of the lifetime deal users, you can use the add-ons, and if you are jumping in one of the monthly plan, you can also use this coupon code, and you will be added all the benefits of the add-on.
Right. And by the
So
way, we have a 7-day free trial as well. You better take advantage of that. Yeah, because the lowest plan we have right now is the solo plan, which is at 49. And actually this saves you a lot of money because if you subscribe to different LLMs already, like a subscription to ChatGPT, a subscription to Gemini, a subscription to Claude, that would cost you already 75 US per month or something like, and then you don't even get this specialized research. So just to let you know about that.
great, thanks. So with that, I think it will be good for us to jump into a demo, hands-on demo, how to create assistant. Shall we do that, Elma?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm assuming at this stage that you have a high degree of knowledge about how CrawlQ work. Um, Hypothetically assume that you have created your campaign. So these are my own campaigns, multiple campaigns. On this side, you can see a specific campaign. In the background, when we go, we can see the research. So this is single source of truth, market research in the different stages of customer journey: attract, desire, convert. It goes into detailed demographics, semantics, psychographic. Within psychographics, then there are again sub elements like emotional idea, or your single big desire or emotions, or result or roadblock. And in the desire stage, it goes even further. It even starts with your, at what level you will accept this your customer, at what level you will reject the customer. So it's not just a generic research, it's really deep research. And each of these categories, you have the explanation why this research is important for building your funnel or building your in-depth understanding of consumer pain points. And this is the bottom of the funnel where we really goes into case studies, testimonials, benefits and outcomes. So you can imagine here, of course, AI cannot generate your testimonials, but it will hypothetically create a testimonial that you can later on replace with actual testimonial. So there is an always element of what is possible with AI and what you can add later when you create this end-to-end market research campaign. So here a little bit introduction of the platform, a dashboard which shows different ideas like how many campaigns you have created over the period of time, how you are interacting with the platform. Some of these user onboarding videos are available. Like if you wanted to start, you can quickly view these videos, and it will show some more details, different stages and progress of your market research. Then you have this conversational platform. All these content that you're creating are appearing separately in your digital assets. You can create your prompt templates, that's manage template. And today we are going to talk about how to manage assistants. So before I show you how to create them, maybe it's good that I show them, once you created them, where to find them. Oops. So this is market research and this is market message. Remember, market message is that the conversational platform where you kind of communicate in back and forth. And when you communicate, I mean, you can really use templates or you can use assistants. So when I say assistant, we have a predefined set of assistant. When you start, it will appear in your community tab. So right now I have pulled all these assistant in my personal account, but when you start, you will see all these assistant on the community tab, and the assistants are carefully researched on the community, and we are adding this assistant as a team, central team. But you can also create your own assistant and publish them for other users, so you can create community assistant. Obviously we will check those assistant and make sure that they meet all the standards that are needed to work as a community assistant. But the idea here is, once you get understanding how it work, you can also use this community assistant to showcase your expertise to other CrawlQ users, or invite someone who you know that can benefit from this assistant. And you can put a lot of your credits or credentials behind it. Suppose you have a proprietary framework in a specific domain and you wanted to uh, create a market for it. You can create this community assistant and you can create links, so while you come, your users will come and communicate, they will understand who is the original creator of this assistant. Think of this as plugins on ChatGPT, but more customized use cases that you can build, and you can deploy your own community assistant. So these assistant are personalized. For example, Alex is an AI product expert. Alex is trained on 16 different techniques on how to establish a product analysis. So there are different techniques, from storytelling to product market analysis, or Porter's 5 C's, or there are 16 different techniques on the product market analysis that Alex can deal with. Here, Chloe is an assistant which can help you to create your prompts, like well researched prompt. We have another assistant, Ada, which can investigate, and it can be your partner in transforming the industry reports. Imagine that you're working in a specific field and you get an industry report. Maybe it's a biomedical research, maybe it's a consumer research. You can add this research PDF, and then our assistant will create social media campaign, or our assistant will create a smaller sized text bytes, like it will take smaller bytes from the text and create an, different types of ideas. You can create Twitter threads, you can create LinkedIn posts, you can create a Facebook post, you can create paid ad campaign just by injecting this industry report. We have Olivier here, which can work together with you as a project planning expert. Suppose you're working today with the client, you agreed with him, with your client, that this is the scope of the project, we are going to deliver XYZ. You can feed in here the scope of the project and the document that you agreed, and this assistant is going to create a project timeline, project cost estimation. It will create different aspects of the project, like dependency between the different deliverables. It can even create deliverables, it can create a task, under task, which tasks need to be done. So you wanted to populate your Trello board, or if you are more working with the roadmap, it can create roadmap with the planning. So it's really your project manager. Then you can use one of the assistant to write blogs. You can use another assistant here to create product market surveys, like your product market fit surveys. So it can not only product market fit, but it has in training on different frameworks of the product market fit. There is an assistant which is Polaris, it can help you to create different calculations of your product market. What is the total size of my market? Within that size, what is the addressable total market? What is the serviceable total market? You know, these ideas of TAM, SAM, SOM. So it can help you to really create an investor page, and also it can do some calculations based on some data. You can, here is another assistant which is LinkedIn Boost. What it does is like, you give it your PDF, you go to your LinkedIn profile. In LinkedIn profile you can download your entire profile as a PDF. You can attach that profile, also your CV, and then you can create all the type of LinkedIn post. If you are applying for a job and you get a job description, you can give this assistant a job description and it can create a motivation letter for you. It can create a CV which is tailored for this that job description, keeping in mind your profile. So these are the different use cases, and we are obviously adding more of these use cases. So maybe I'll pick up one. For example, if you want to create assistant like this, let me first the grab the content of the assistant. So here you can create a new assistant. You can give it a name, you can give it a brief description, and let's take the instructions of this assistant out, and I'll show you on a different document like how this assistant is structured. So you can see this is a detailed instruction to this assistant. This is a conversational design of this assistant. So in the name, its name is linked boost, and the conversation design is how you design it. So you say, I am here to assist you in crafting a compelling and optimized LinkedIn profile that attracts opportunities, and then it has a conversational flow. So you give the assistant a name and give it how it will interact, like what is its main purpose. Then you create a logic, so you create an instruction to the assistant. So first it will show critical things to be considered before starting. Look, if the user has already uploaded a PDF, then do not ask additional question. If user has not uploaded a PDF of his profile, then ask this additional question. Why I'm going into these details, because I want to tell you that all this conversation design is under your control. So you build the logic. I'm even saying to this assistant, do not overwhelm my user with all the steps in the first response. Talk to my user step by step. Take it my user in a step by step journey. So this is how I'm including an human touch to my assistant. Clarify the scenario first. Are they looking to optimize their profile, or they are trying to understand an ideal customer profile? So I can create multiple logic into the assistant scenario. I can create three different scenarios for the same assistant. Based on these responses, ask and confirm at each step of the user if this is okay to take the next step. Then you say welcome and introduction. So hi, I'm linked boost, your assistant. I will guide you to optimize your LinkedIn profile, and I will take this approach. So I will take first your headline, and I will pull that headline. I will suggest you three different headlines, and then I will do second, third, fourth, right? So for example, if this assistant is active, I will show you how it is active. But you can see that um, I have created the instructions, detailed instructions. These are really detailed instructions, and obviously we cannot walk through all the instructions, but we have logical steps for this assistant. Now you may be a little bit puzzled or confused at this stage how to create these instructions, right? Because they are too much. My suggestion is that you pick up an idea on which assistant you want to create, like a subject matter expert. You pick up an idea, you search with the best theoretical explanations of this. Suppose we are creating here how to optimize my LinkedIn profile. Now if I Google, I will find 10 experts on it, but you might have an idea that this is the person who I should borrow the framework from this person, or the name of the framework. So you take the idea, you go to our platform, and then you select the Claude as a model. We'll show you here. So you just pick up the theory or idea, just a theory. Theory can be really big because it can be maybe 1000 words, but you copy that theory, you come back here, and you say, hey, Athena, I want to create a unique assistant which do XYZ. Here is the detailed context. Please create a unique name of the assistant. Please create a unique description of this assistant, and take all the context from here, take all my context from here, and give me a step by step logic of this assistant. And once you I suggest you to use Claude for this, because I find it's more um, human, pro human sensitive when it comes to creating the conversational design. I find Claude is most good when it comes to a conversational design. So even the CrawlQ can help you to design this, but feel free to use other tool. For example, you can also go to chatgpt and say, okay, I wanted to create assistant, give me the unique name of the assistant, description of the assistant, and arrange all this information into logical steps. That's how you can speed up the creation of the assistant. But that's easiest way. And once assistant is created, you can use it. So for example, if I want to create a new assistant, here I will click this button, new assistant. I will give it a name. So here, in this case, LinkedIn Boost was the name of the assistant, but you can also give it a name, what you prefer. So for example, I can give it a name, let's say Elma LinkedIn Booster, right? It's a name. I can give it a name, and I can choose um, any type of representation or avatar for my assistant. Sorry, Elma, I don't cannot put your
No problem.
photograph here,
Yeah,
but
I want my photo in there.
you want your photo there. We should do it next time, right? And obviously, a description. What is this description is all about? So we say, okay, the Elma can really help to optimize the profile, LinkedIn profile, and we have all these instructions here. So I'll just put this entire context back as an instruction. You can see that there's a quite a detailed instruction here, and obviously I can put a link in the recording of this webinar to see these instructions. And if you need, once you have the CrawlQ account, you can also just go to the edit tab and copy this instruction back on a bigger document, and you can see the flow of the information. So all the conversational design, logical steps, how you want it to interact with you, what questions it should ask for your validation, all you can provide at one place. Once you have this information, you will say, I want to have retrieval of the information. So retrieval search. But if your assistant is also having some data and you wanted to do some predictive analytics or coding, you can also do the code interpretation. On LinkedIn profile optimization, there is no code involved, so we will stick to retrieval. Then I always suggest to use market research, because that's where this assistant is going to draw the information from which persona, which product, everything that you have already. If you skip this, then obviously it can also work as an stand alone, and the person who you have onboarded in your team, and it's not working at all. It's like working in separate workstation without any communication and link to you. But I suggest that you select the market research, and here you have your all uploaded document. So for example, I have my LinkedIn profile already here, but suppose it was already here available. But if you don't have it, you can also upload it. You can go here, you see here a little icon, you click on it, and from your local machine or on your laptop, you can select one of the PDF, and you can just select it, and it will be available here to the assistant. You can say upload this document. So for now, I have some relevant document, that's why I wanted to upload it. And you will click it, and it will be added and attached with this assistant. Do we have already question? I see a question pop up. Elma?
Actually, no questions. They are enjoying it, so they said it's a really nice tool. But I do have questions on their behalf because maybe they haven't thought of this. Like, hey, are there any limits on the number of assistants they can create?
For now, there is no limit set on the number of assistant. You can create as many as assistant as you want.
Right. So right now, even our solo plan and all our LTD plans actually already has access to assistants, and there are no limits on the number of assistants that you make. And just to let you know as well, if you have the CrawlQ Pro AI LLM add-on, where you can access GPT-4, DALL-E 3, Gemini, Claude, all these are unlimited access, but the access is per user. So I need to clarify this one for the LTD users. For the non-LTD users or subscribers, all these are included, and there are limits based on the number of campaigns. And the next question I have here is that okay, so you uploaded a document. Is there any limit on the size of the document that you have to that you can upload?
Right. So any kind of PDF document or CSV, it has to be within the 2 megabyte, 2 MB.
Mm-hmm.
And there are several online tools available to compress a PDF, for example, because it's only issue I think with the PDF, because PDF sometimes are bigger with the many embedded images. So you can go to an online compression tool, and you can always, in most of the cases, 99% cases, I was able to compress a PDF within the limit of 2 MB. But obviously there are some PDF which you cannot, unfortunately. Then you can divide it into two PDF.
And we can select more than one document here, right?
Yes, yes, you can
Okay.
add up to 10 PDF documents here, and
Mm-hmm.
not only PDF, but with PDF you can also have a, for example, document which is JSON, or for example, it can be a CSV, or it can be something else, right? So if you product document or other document or anything that is in the Excel, that also can be added here. So we suggest or we recommend adding up to 10 document, because not necessarily you should add 10 document, because more document you add, more information pollution can happen. If you see my point,
Oh, yeah.
you wanted to add most relevant document for that, for that specific assistant. And this assistant are generic, they can work on all your campaigns. So for example, all my crawl queue related campaign, my own campaign, I might be using my LinkedIn profile and some of the information that is applicable to all of these campaign. But if I have a client workspace which is completely built for a different target audience and a different type of audience, then I will not use this document, but I will reattach the new document which is relevant for that customer. And when you invoke the assistant in a new campaign, it will already understand that, hey, I need to forget what I learned for this product or this feature, but I need to now restart because I'm in a different campaign. So just like
Yeah.
think of different meeting rooms in your team, and the assistant need to be shifting from one meeting room to other or one context to other. It can handle that kind of cognitive load or context switch.
Right. Oh, by the way, when it comes to like the switching meeting rooms that Harish is talking about here, this also means that your AI assistant is not actually starting from scratch because you already have the market research by Athena. So it's like continuing in the same thread but more specialized. So continuing in the same campaign, you introduce your assistant in there, and then it will already work with all the background, the market research information that you had within the campaign. And that's what I really like about this. So to be honest, I'm hardly looking at any other AI tools, and I've seen a lot of tools popping up on the market now. Like, hey, there's one that, oh, this can read all your PDFs and you can chat with your PDFs. And CrawlQ already does that, so you don't need an extra subscription for that. And there's another one I've seen where I already forgot what that was, but I said, "Oh, Chrome can also do that." Okay, so there are some software that are actually just doing one feature of CrawlQ, but CrawlQ is actually really an all-in-one tool. This is how I see it. Okay, and as a marketer, that is very important for me.
Good, great context, Elma.
Mhm.
Thank you for adding that. So let's quickly create our assistant with
Okay,
your
sorry, I
name,
forgot.
your with your name, and then
Yeah,
we'll
create
remove
me.
the name. But believe me, I have provided as human instructions as possible. So it is very sympathetic, kind to you
Right.
when you talk to Elma.
Dr.
Obviously, it's not
Elma.
possible to.
I'm always kind.
Oh, I think I have some issues while the assistant creation. It could be that I'm adding the same document or same name. But let me
Could
quickly
be.
check.
It's hard to create Elma. See? That happens.
Yes, yes, it's not easy.
Of all, it's Elma. Okay. You will definitely come into problems with that.
Right. I
Okay.
think
Okay.
the document that I had
Okay.
was already available in a different context. So we have the assistant here. It's like this, and we can further edit the assistant. We can make this public. We can share the assistant. So when I say you can share the assistant, means a dialog box will appear here. You can enter the email address of other user to whom you want to share and click this button. Then this assistant will be automatically copied into the user account, CrawlQ's user account. If you want to share it as a link, you can share it as a link, but then the person that you are sharing will be directed to a login screen. Need to create a login or CrawlQ account, basic log, free trial or starting account to work that, and then you can, once you have this, there's a little dialog button here, so you copy here and you come here, and the import assistant will open. You can copy this link and paste it and say import. Once you import, this assistant will be imported in your account. So this is a link sharing of an assistant. If you know a existing user, you can share them one email. You can of course delete the assistant. You can edit assistant at any point of time. So when you edit, you can go back here and see what is needed. For example, if you wanted to reattach any document, you can attach them here. So let's say I want to attach my CV here and see if it's going to work or not. So assistant is updated. Now it has two data point. Now let's see how to use this assistant. So we go back to the main conversational platform, and we will see all the assistants that are available to us. So this is the assistant, and once I clone it, so it will appear in your account there. Once I clone it, it will be appearing here, and we have the name of the assistant. Now every communication that we do with this assistant will be in a separate thread, but also, as I mentioned before, um, all the responses are going in the same main conversational platform. So that means every interaction with that you have with this assistant will help you. So, and you can start very simple thing. Let's say I want to optimize my LinkedIn profile, and or obvious, or maybe that I have a job description. I wanted to create a description for or a motivation letter for that. So let's take some use case, if that is possible. uh, Let me find a job that I can apply. Let's do it a real case scenario. Let's say that I'm looking for this job, senior product manager. this is the description of the job. Let's copy this job requirement. It include the key responsibilities and stuff until here. I copy it, go back to CrawlQ. Since you might have noticed that I have added uh, my CV and I have some other information about my passion, vision, what I want to, which motivations drive me. Some more information I have attached, and while using the assistant, I also attach. I can upload more document from here. Let's say I ask assistant, please create a motivation letter for me to apply for this job. Um, let's paste the information. So the job description, and just press the button and see what happens. Let me select. It's okay. We can also select different models, but it's okay. So at this time, assistant is executing the response. Um, we have assistant, which is based on optimization of LinkedIn profile idea. So it can also go into detail and say, okay, this is what you need to change on your LinkedIn profile to go for this job. But right now, I'm just asking it's a motivation letter. Based on this, I might also ask what headline, how description, what different experiences that I have, what should I change there. So once this assistant is working and trained, it can help you in any type of idea generation. So here we have the it's give me a template. It's giving me a template of how to respond as a motivation letter. So I'm writing to express my deep interest in senior product manager position at this company, and having like it's pulling all the information from my CV which is relevant for this company. So my stint as product manager in the supply chain area has honed my ability to work directly with this and that. It brings the information that I have attached in my CV. So you can see that it kind of pull the relevant information from my CV, and it kind of create a template. And here, if I wanted to give it more data, I can upload this data here directly. So any kind of data either that is already available here, I can select, or I can also upload a new document here. So for example, let's see, I had my LinkedIn profile uh, PDF also, which I can put here and ask it to create more information based on the profile. So here it is. We'll select it. So a little bit lag on my side. So now I can further optimize my motivation later based on the information that is available in my LinkedIn profile. Please rewrite this motivation letter. So hopefully you guys already see the different use cases. I picked up one assistant because maybe that kind of relate very quickly, but these assistants are very complex. They can range from product analysis to market positioning to creating a coach and coachee session. Like if you are working in the coaching industry, you can create an assistant which take the client intake interview, and then it record all the responses of the client, and then you can create a session with the customer with your coachee. So it can act as a coach and coachee. uh, I think in the interest of time, of course, I can go through this more of these assistants, but are there some questions which we can already address, Elmo?
No more, no questions so far.
Okay. In this demo, my idea was more to focus on how to create assistant, how to see or think about the conversational design of the assistant, and that is the key because you come up with a specific name of the assistant, description of the assistant, some logical steps the assistant need to follow, and how to get some help on creating that conversational design is also possible. That you get an idea or concept, you come to this platform and ask it, hey, create me a unique assistant which does this and that, and here is my context, and CrawlQ will create automatically a conversational design for that assistant. And you can see our different assistants, and you can further modify them. So when I provided some more information, it really pulled up from my banking domain and experience that I worked before with ING Bank. I have knowledge with fundamental review of trading book, and how this completely relevant position I picked up um, on a on just deliberately that information. This particular position is not related to my profile. It's just related to product manager idea. But here, assistant has done a remarkable job, where it tried to take all these relevant information that was available on my profile and fit it into the job requirement. Now, I'm not saying that it's a good idea, but I need to carefully check if this job description and my experiences are okay. There are so many things here. For example, I have experience with product management, agile methodology. I have experience with business analysis, software development. I have experience with product lifecycle management. I have experience working with different banking clients and regulatory experiences. And so, whatever here that is available from my profile and to write it, I can share it in the description or a link later, so you can assess yourself the capability of this assistant. But it really pulls up the relevant information directly from my from my CV, from my LinkedIn profile, and create a professional motivation letter. I can also ask it to optimize my LinkedIn headline, title, how I write my educational or how I write my experiences. And there are more people who have experimented in a different setting to apply for job, to pitch to a client. So the assistant can take multiple variety of use cases on a specific level or on a specific domain, I mean to say. Over to you, Elma.
Okay, cool. Let me see. There is a comment now. Okay, so from Richanel, where can I find the input seeds for assistants that are already in my account?
When you want to clone an assistant, so when you click on this tab, right, you will see a model will appear, and you go into your community tab, and here I have cloned everything, but there will be a button like clone, and once you clone the assistant, you can click on this link, edit assistant. So for example, if this assistant is there, you can click this link, edit, and you can find all the inputs that are used to create that assistant. Now, if I were Richanel, what I will do, I will take this name, description, and instruction on a separate document like this, and I change it to customize it for myself, and I will recreate it if your use case is exactly the same as on the assistant. If you want to learn how to create the instructions, you can also follow this conversational pattern or design. But we have kept it a free format for our users to create their own conversation design, because we wanted to make it very flexible. So you can really introduce more logical steps. The assistant works really better when you ask it in advance that please use my data provide. I'm providing you with data files, and I have market research. So please use as much as information from there. So that means you don't need to again provide the information about your market product, because this assistant, when you ask it to use that information which is already available, will work in your favor. You don't need to do the double work. So that's important, that you try to make it as autonomous, independent as possible, by telling it, hey, I have this PDF file here. This is exactly same. You will hire a new team member and you will provide him an onboarding doc, and you will tell him that this is the link to do this task, this is the information you can find to do this. So think of this as a buddy, new buddy in your team, and you are providing him necessary documents to look for. You make references where to look these information for. So you don't need to give it again and again each time. You If you understand my point correctly, where to look assistant, you'll find them all here. Once you open this edit tab, you can take these instructions out, you can modify them. Or if you have an idea, separate idea, you can copy that idea and come back to CrawlQ and select the Claude model and ask it to create a unique name for the assistant, create me a description of the assistant, and based on this context, please create a conversational design which is as human as possible. And also, please ask minimum information from me. That's it. That's it. You need to provide as an instruction and the context, and you will get the first conversational design, and you can copy here and attach some data here. And then as you learn more how to change it, you test it, and you see that it's performing in a bit unexpected way, you come back, edit it, and change some of the tone or style. You again back and you again go back, use it again. You find if something is not right, is not behaving in the way it should behave or you expect it to behave, you can always go back and edit it. And also it remembers the conversation. So for example, if you are in the middle of analysis, and analysis has three steps, you want to perform those three steps. Now once you have the analysis, you want to create a post or you want to get feedback, you can attach those file also. If you, let's say that you create a survey for a new product, so you can use the product genie assistant to create a product market survey or survey questionnaire. Now you send an email to your 10,000 customers, you get responses, you collect all these responses. If you are using survey monkey, then you will get a csv file, you can download the csv file and now attach that csv file. So this assistant can, is not only like starting a job or doing it in one session. This assistant is your lively colleague, dynamic, which is working together with you. So you can also do the post processing of the information with the same assistant, because it's remember the context why you created this survey. Now how to analyze this survey. So in your conversational design, you might have 10 logical steps, you can perform 3 logical steps, um, go out in the market, collect the more data relevant to the other logical steps, attach the data file, and this assistant can continue. So that way you are making the assistant more and more smarter. More you are using it, you are making it more smarter. Of course, so then it has its own thread. It remembers the previous information. But I hope this explanation helps you how you can make these assistants even better and based on some logical flow of the steps. And if the logical flow of the step need different data, then you attach the different data at that level when you are ready to do those analysis.
Okay. Thank you, Harish. And then I think Mark and I have the same idea. So I designed the Chloe Prompt Genius because I'm trying to find out ways to improve my prompts. So this is very similar. Can you make an assistant that will help me make assistants?
Can you make an assistant that will make me help assistant that then will help to make assistant?
Exactly. It's a loop.
Master assistant. Right, right, right.
Right. So
Expectations are rising. I appreciate this, Mark. I will create a generic assistant maker, which then can take necessary instructions, and I will create this assistant in a way that these all elements that I'm describing here, that it need to use a specific tone while interacting with you. It need This assistant need to be forced to first look for the relevant data and not bother you with those questions. See, so I'll work on it and maybe share a master assistant which can create assistant, and you just need to copy paste the context. I'm a little bit afraid to go into that direction, because it will be like taking some autonomy, or taking some elements of a user can do more creative testing. But I understand this need, and I will add assistant maker who will make the assistants. But think that there can be multiple ways to give a logic to assistant. So I was a bit like not very excited about the idea in the beginning, but I understand the need, and I will add one assistant which will create assistant. Let's do it. Thanks, Mark, for suggesting
Okay.
this idea.
Yeah, but I also have the same idea. Like, oh, how do I ask Harish? Can I do that? But let me try. By the way, I've already created a couple of assistants, so I'm getting the hang of it now. Okay, is it possible to use the assistant to automate post creation and put the output in a Google Sheet file?
I think this is the next step we are working. We don't want to promise a full automation solution where you create and push the button to send it to the channels. But this idea that you can export this content on a Google Sheet, or ask Assistant to export this on a Google Sheet, is our next kind of iteration of this development.
Okay, yes,
What
that
we
will
are
be useful.
what we are working before is probably other way around, that you can use a Google Sheet to collect useful posts. Let's say that you see on the LinkedIn, or any other platform, 20 best performing posts. You put it on a Google Sheet, and or probably you have automation on the Google Sheet that these new posts are keep getting added there. So then our assistant can draw from that information. This is already our next iteration that we are doing. You will be able to add Google Drives, Google Sheet, Gmail, Salesforce, HubSpot, Stripe data, and 500 different standard marketing tools. You will be able to run a natural language query question. Then our platform will create an structured query language, SQL, and it will fetch the data in CSV that you can download, and then you can append that data with more additional columns. And same way, like I just showed you here, you can attach that data. So that data can be CSV or JSON or anything. So we want to provide our user flexibility to connect with number of tools, standard tools, and based on that download the data in your local computer machine like a CSV file, and then you add more columns to it, or if you wanted to add more enrichment of the data, and then you attach it back to the assistant. So that way it can draw from the information you want to provide. This use cases can we push the information back to Google Sheet. This will be, I believe, will be a third iteration in our roadmap.
Okay. Okay, so that is the last question for today. Maybe we can also talk about the current how the pricing that we have on CrawlQ. Uh, that is something we have to
Maybe
discuss.
maybe you would like to share your screen. I can stop
Yeah, I can
presenting.
share my screen, no worries. Let me
Sure, sure.
just turn this off. Right. There you go. So, okay, so here's our pricing. Our lowest plan is solo, where we have one user, five persona campaigns, and this already includes the CrawlQ AI assistants, both the community assistants and your make your own assistants. So, and currently it's unlimited AI assistants that you can create with CrawlQ. And for startup, you have five users, 20 persona campaigns. Growth, you have 10 users, 40 persona campaigns. Agency, you have 40 users and unlimited persona campaigns. And all already has the AI LLM add-on, so the GPT-4, Claude, and Gemini are
Gemini.
here. Yes, and what else do we have? And data and analytics add also the Reddit and Quora. If your market is on these platforms, it is very, very useful because you get more insights from instead of going to Reddit and to Quora and searching things manually. CrawlQ can do it for you. Athena can do it for you, and that is added starting on the startup plan, the growth and to agency. And if you have bigger business or larger businesses, just let us know. We have enterprise. We also have an enterprise level version of our CrawlQ. Okay, so thanks so much for that. And remember, you have a 7-day free trial, and we have the webinar, CrawlQ webinar 40 for our 40% off forever. So, but this um, discount code is only valid until end of this month. Okay, May 31. So thanks so much, everyone. That's all for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. You understood how ProQ AI works. Like Harish explained it really well. There are some questions, but they asked this later, like, "Hey, what is Athena? What do you mean by two-way RAG?" Please, please, please watch the replay. We have answered all these, and we invite you to create your own assistants and even share them with our CrawlQ community because it's really great that we can automate a lot of things now with CrawlQ. So, and this is something I haven't seen anywhere else, by the way, like a multiple LLM in one thread, and then it can memorize. It retains in memory what we have discussed previously, plus the different threads. Once I start adding in assistant, they still have the same context and all that. This is something I haven't seen anywhere else. So that's all for today. If any questions, actually, best if you join our Facebook group or follow our company on LinkedIn, or even join us in YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. So that's all for today, and thanks so much. And we will schedule another webinar like this. Bye.
Thank you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thank
Bye
you
bye,
so
everyone.
much. Bye bye.